ODM party leader Oburu Oginga has warned William Ruto and other Kenyans against using the Energy Cabinet Secretary Wandayi and the Trade Cabinet Secretary Kenyan as sacrificial lambs in the fuel scandal. Welcome to Kenya Lens Media, where we talk politics and analyze them. Equally give you news updates as they break. So if you are new here, consider subscribing. Now, the Orange Democratic Movement Party has defended Energy Cabinet Secretary Wandayi and Trade Cabinet Secretary Kenyan amid an unfolding scandal involving the importation of substandard fuel, as investigations into the matter continue and public pressure intensifies. The controversy surrounding the importation of substandard fuel has quickly developed into one of the most significant governance challenges facing the country in recent weeks. At the center of the issue are concerns about how condemned fuel allegedly found its way into the Kenyan market, raising serious questions about oversight, regulation and accountability within the energy sector. As investigations gather pace, the Orange Democratic Movement has taken a firm position, urging restraint and also caution in how the matter is being handled publicly. The party leader Oburu Oginga has called on Kenyans to avoid directing blame prematurely at senior government officials, particularly cabinet secretaries who are not directly responsible for the financial management within ministries. According to the party, public condemnation of individuals before the conclusion of investigations risks undermining the integrity of the process, and concern raised is that heightened political pressure could shift attention away from the facts and instead turn the matter into a political contest. This position comes at a time when public anger has been steadily rising. Many Kenyans are demanding swift action and clear accountability, especially given the scale of the alleged financial loss and the potential risks posed by substandard fuel entering the supply chain. The ODM statement also extended its defense to the Trade Cabinet Secretary Kenyan, who, alongside Wandayi, has faced calls to step aside as investigations continue. However, the party made it clear that its support is not unconditional. It emphasized that if investigations establish any legal and level of responsibility on the part of the two cabinet secretaries, then the law must take its course without exception. And this position reflects a balance between protecting due process and maintaining the principle of accountability. Beyond the immediate defense of the two officials, the party also used the moment to restate its broader commitment to fighting corruption. It pointed to the existing cooperation framework between ODM and the ruling administration, describing the fight against graft as central pillar of the engagement. The party further acknowledged the efforts of President William Ruto in addressing corruption, framing the current situation as a critical test of that commitment. For many observers, the unfolding events are not only about the specific allegations, but also about the strength of institutions tasked with managing public resources. The fuel scandal itself began to draw national attention after reports emerged that the substandard fuel had been imported into the country under questionable circumstances. Investigations have since led to the arrest of several senior officials in the energy sector, and among those arrested are former Petroleum Principal Secretary Mohammed Liban, former Energy and Petroleum Regulatory Authority Director General Daniel Kipto, and former Kenya Pipeline Corporation Managing Director Joe Sang. Authorities allege that the three were involved in manipulating energy data to create the impression of fuel shortage in the country. This perceived shortage is believed to have been used to justify the procurement of fuel outside the established government-to-government supply framework. And such actions, if proven, would represent a significant breach of public trust and also establish procurement procedures. The three officials were later released on bail, but investigations into their roles remain ongoing. At the heart of the controversy is the shipment of 68,000 metric tons of premium motor spirit, and the government has indicated that the consignment cost approximately 2.9 billion Kenyan shillings. The financial implications of this transaction have added a public concern, and particularly in a context where economic pressures are already being felt by many households. The issue has been further complicated by reports that fuel deemed unfit for use may have been diverted into the domestic market. This raises not only financial concerns but also questions about consumer safety and regulatory enforcement. For ordinary citizens, the implications are direct and immediate, and fuel is a critical commodity that affects transportation and the cost of goods and the overall cost of living. Any disruption or compromise in its quality has a ripple effect across the economy. As a result, public reaction has been swift and in many cases intense, and there have been increasing calls for decisive action, including demands for the resignation or suspension of senior officials linked to the sector. President William Ruto has since addressed the issue, signaling a firm stance against those found to be responsible. He has indicated that individuals involved in the alleged scheme will be held accountable regardless of their position. This message is aimed at reassuring the public that the government is taking the matter seriously and is committed to upholding the rule of law. At the same time, the Energy Ministry under Wandayi has outlined steps taken to contain the situation. Among these measures is the halting of further shipments under similar conditions, a move intended to prevent additional losses and protect public interest. The ministry has also indicated that efforts are underway to recover the funds associated with the disputed fuel consignment, and these developments highlight the complexity of the situation. On one hand, there is an urgent need for accountability and transparency, and on the other, there is a need to ensure that investigations are conducted thoroughly and without interference. The balance between the two priorities is now at the center of the national conversation, and political reactions have continued to shape how the issue is being perceived. While some leaders are pushing for immediate action against those in office, others are calling for patience, and investigators work to establish the facts. The divergence reflects broader tensions in how governance issues are addressed, particularly in moments of crisis. And for the Orange Democratic Movement, the emphasis remains on allowing institutions to function independently. The party's position underscores the importance of due process, and even if in the face of the strong public sentiment, at the same spirit, it reinforces the expectation that accountability must ultimately be upheld. And as the investigation continues, attention is likely to remain focused on both the individuals involved and the system that allowed the situation to develop. Questions about oversight, procurement procedures, and regulatory enforcement are expected to feature prominently in the coming days. And for the Kenyans, the outcome of this case will serve as an indicator of how effectively the country addresses issues of corruption and mismanagement. It is also a moment that tests public confidence in institutions tasked with safeguarding national resources. The unfolding developments are a reminder of the critical role that transparency and accountability play in governance. They also highlight the challenges that arise when systems fail or are perceived to have failed. And as investigations proceed, the focus will remain on uncovering the truth and also ensuring that appropriate action is taken based on the findings. And as Kenya confronts the fallout from the fuel scandal, the true measure will not only be in the findings of the investigation, but in the country's ability to uphold accountability while protecting the integrity of the institutions. That is all we had for you from Kenya Lens Media, at least for now. Let's meet again in another video. But if you are new here, kindly consider subscribing, liking, and also sharing our content. Equally, hit the notification bell, turn it on, so that you can be receiving notifications each and every time we bring you a new content.